Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're not just stepping back in time. We're stepping onto a battlefield. But it's a battlefield of ideas, one that really reshaped the world.
Absolutely.
The year is 1775. Try and picture it. Across these, rolling green hills of colonial America, there's this tension just simmering. It's about to boil over. On one ridge, you've got the British redcoats, very imposing, disciplined, a real symbol of empire. Muskets gleaming. It's pure establishment power.
Right. That visual is so potent.
But then, look across to the opposite ridge. There stand the Continental soldiers. And these aren't professional soldiers in the same way. They're farmers, tradesmen, patriots. Shoulder to shoulder. Their resolve. Palpable.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? It strikes you immediately, this wasn't just armies clashing over land.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it was a battle of ideas, of philosophies, really.
Explain that a bit more. What ideas are we talking about?
Well, you had the entrenched power of the British Empire, mercantilist, hierarchical, parliament supreme.
The old way?
Exactly. And facing it, this audacious emerging identity, talking about liberty, self-determination, natural rights ideas from the Enlightenment,
Like Locke, Rousseau.
Precisely. That concept of individual liberty, daring to break free from the grip of empire.
Yeah.
It was, profoundly revolutionary for the time, redefining government itself.
That distinction is so important, and that's exactly what we want to explore today. We're doing a deep dive into Birth of a Nation, the American Revolution, focusing on those key years, 1775 to 1783.
A pivotal period.
Our mission, for you listening, is to pull out the most important bits of knowledge from this time. Go beyond just the battles and dates, uncover the spirit, the ideas driving it all. How did this spark ignite a whole new nation?
Right.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's go right to that spark, that ignition point where the tension just exploded. 1775, everyone knows the phrase, right? The shot heard around the world, Lexington and Concord.
The imagery is powerful, smoke curling over the field.
But what made those specific shots so irreversible, beyond just starting the fighting?
That's a great question, because it wasn't just a skirmish. It was fundamentally the point of no return for both sides.
How so?
For the British, it confirmed this was a full-blown rebellion. Time for military force, restore order.
Right.
For the colonists, it flipped the switch. Protests, petitions, that was over. Now is active, armed struggle for survival and, pretty soon for independence.
So a psychological shift, too.
Huge. Accepting war, realizing there was no going back. Reconciliation was pretty much off the table after that.
The die is cast then in 75. But just a year later, 1776, there's a different kind of shot fired, a document, unfurled in Philadelphia, shakes the world.
Ah, yes. The Declaration of Independence.
Tell us about that moment, that parchment. What's its significance beyond the famous lines?
Well, the words are powerful, obviously. But think about the act itself. That elegant script was this incredibly audacious formal statement to the world.
Not just to King George.
No, exactly. It turned a colonial dispute into a universal claim. It wasn't just a list of complaints, it was a philosophical manifesto.
Laying out a new kind of government.
Right. Based on natural rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness,
Yeah.
and the idea that governments get their power from the consent of the governed. Think how revolutionary that was.
Challenging the whole idea of kings having a divine right.
Absolutely. Proposing a whole new basis for political legitimacy. It was radical.
And right at its core, those unforgettable words. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Just saying that. In a world of monarchies. It's pure audacity.
It really is.
But how did those words actually manage to pull together 13 pretty different colonies? They had their own interests, rivalries even.
That's where the genius lies,
Yeah.
It provided a common philosophical ground that's often overlooked.
How do you mean?
So think about it. You had the agrarian South grappling with slavery, a huge contradiction right there. Then the mercantile North focused on trade, cities, different economies, different people.
Very different worlds in some ways.
Totally. But these universal principles, equality, self-evident rights, they offered this crucial unifying idea. It let them rise above just arguing about taxes or local stuff.
It gave them a single voice.
A single moral voice against what they saw as tyranny. It reframed the whole conflict as a fight for fundamental principles, something everyone, ostensibly everyone free, could rally behind.
And as this unified voice emerges, asserting these radical ideas, We get a powerful visual symbol, too, something to represent this new collective.
You mean the flag?
Yeah, the American flag, stars and stripes stitched together, waving defiantly. It wasn't just cloth, was it?
Not at all. It became the physical embodiment of that revolutionary idea, that social contract. A collective identity built on shared ideals. Representation, self-governance.
Representing the nation itself.
Exactly. Uncertain, imperfect, sure. But daring to be free. It became more than a military banner. It was a tangible symbol of that shared purpose, something concrete to fight for.
Gave people a sense of belonging.
Absolutely. It helped turn subjects of a king into citizens of this shared, unfolding dream.
Now, declaring independence is one thing. Winning it, quite another. This wasn't quick.
Far from it. An arduous, long struggle. It really tested the limits of that resolve you mentioned.
You can almost hear the cannons, can't you? Bunker Hill, Saratoga, Yorktown, iconic battlefields. What do those specific battles tell us about the challenges, the resilience needed over those long years?
It's important to look beyond just the names, you know. Take Bunker Hill, technically a British win, but they took such heavy losses.
So the colonists would fight hard?
Exactly. It was a kind of psychological victory for the Americans, boosted their resolve, made the British realize the cost.
And Saratoga?
Oh, Saratoga was strategically massive. The American victory there, capturing a whole British army, that's what convinced France the cause was viable, led directly to the alliance.
Which was crucial.
Absolutely. And don't forget Valley Forge. Not a battle, but enduring that hardship, it speaks volumes about the spirit of the Continental Army. Forging a nation in fire, literally.
That resolve is incredible. And you mentioned Saratoga leading to the French alliance. That was a huge turning point, right? Bringing in international support.
Oh, absolutely critical.
Yeah.
France joining the fight shifted everything.
How specifically? What did they bring?
Well, the obvious things: troops, naval power. French naval superiority was decisive at Yorktown, for example.
Okay.
But it was more than that. Crucial financial backing. Military expertise, think Lafayette, von Steuben.
Right, training the army.
And maybe most importantly, global recognition. France openly backing the Americans turned it from what Britain called a mere rebellion into a legitimate international war.
Forced Britain to spread its resources.
Exactly. Fight on a global stage. Weakened their position in North America fundamentally. It was a diplomatic masterstroke, really, largely thanks to Benjamin Franklin.
So this wasn't a quick sprint. It was a marathon. 8 long years.
A brutal marathon, yes. The sheer length of it says so much about the determination on both sides.
But all that struggle, the alliances, the strategy, it eventually leads to a breaking point.
It does. The culmination, really, combining that grit with sophisticated Franco-American cooperation, came at Yorktown, 1781.
The final big one.
Pretty much. The joint siege, the French Navy cutting off any British escape or reinforcement. Strategically brilliant. It forced General Cornwallis to surrender his army.
And that was effectively the end.
It ended the major fighting, yes. Compelled Britain to finally accept the outcome and start peace talks. It was the moment the declaration's promise became a hard-won reality.
So the war ends, cannon silent, smoke clears. But as our sources point out powerfully, the story does not end there.
No, not at all. That's where a new chapter begins, maybe even more complex.
From the ashes of that conflict, what did this new nation look like? Immediately.
Well, it rose from the ashes, absolutely. But it was born into, well, profound flux, deep challenges.
How so?
It was uncertain. No empire structure to lean on, navigating a totally unknown future. It was imperfect, immediately facing the huge moral issue of slavery, plus the practical problem of uniting these diverse states.
A difficult birth.
Definitely. But, and this is crucial, it was free. Acknowledging that complexity right from the start. Uncertain, imperfect, and free. It shows resilience, but also a sober understanding of the massive task ahead.
That's a really potent way to frame it. Uncertain, imperfect, but free. And those characteristics didn't just vanish after day one, did they?
Absolutely not. That tension between uncertainty, imperfection, and freedom, it got embedded right into the nation's DNA, you could say.
Became part of the ongoing story.
Yes. The debates over states' rights versus federal power, the long struggle for actual equality for everyone, defining liberty itself. These weren't new problems that popped up later. They were foundational questions right there from the beginning. The birth was just the start of a continuous evolution.
And that brings us toward the end of this deep dive into birth of a nation, the American Revolution. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From those initial simmering tensions, the first shots at Lexington and Concord, through the world-changing words of the Declaration defining a new identity. Then the long, hard years of fighting, boosted by allies like France, leading finally to victory at Yorktown.
Right.
And the emergence of this new nation, uncertain, imperfect, but free.
And if we synthesize the key takeaways, I think it's clear this was so much more than just a military win. It was truly a battle of ideas.
Philosophy meeting firepower.
Exactly. Philosophy, strategy, diplomacy, all intertwined, birthing a totally new national identity. And what really stands out is that sustained hope and resolve against incredible odds, facing deep uncertainty.
Shows the power of an idea.
I think so. The power of a widely shared idea to fuel people through immense hardship, to build a nation explicitly on liberty, even while acknowledging right from the start that applying those principles perfectly was and remains a challenge.
So for you listening today, what does all this mean? Reflect on this foundational story, the struggle for liberty, the birth of a nation from such deep uncertainty.
Yeah.
How do these events, these words, these sacrifices still echo? How does this history shape our understanding of national identity, the pursuit of ideals, not just in America, but globally? It's not just dusty old history, is it? It feels alive.
It really does. And building on that source's final line, describing the new nation as uncertain, imperfect, but free, maybe a final thought to ponder is this.
Okay.
What are the inherent strengths, but also the persistent challenges that a nation faces when its very foundation carries those three powerful words: uncertainty, imperfection, freedom?
How does that shape its ongoing journey?
Precisely. How do those characteristics, woven into its DNA, shape its evolution, its internal arguments, its role in the world, not just back then, but through centuries of change, right up to today? It's a powerful legacy to think about.